Hello, today we are making some easy peasy cheesy straws. They're really simple to make, cheese straws, and they're great for snacks. They're very Moorish and kids love them. And what's good is that you can change them up by adding some dips into the mix and dipping them in different flavours to make sure the taste caters to everyone. You can make them with stronger cheese or milder cheese, depending on what your dip is going to be. Any hard cheese works pretty well. I'm going to be using mature cheddar because that's what I use for everything, but it's totally up to you. I'm also going to show you how to make some nice yummy dips as well. Simple stuff that can be made with things knocking around your cupboards. So first up, here are the ingredients that you're going to need for making the cheese straws. These are really quick to make because they only take 10 minutes once they're in the oven, and everything that you need to make them is pretty simple, basic stock cupboard stuff. So I will run you through what you'll be needing. First up, you need 3/4 of a cup of flour, which is about 100 grams of flour, and it has to be self-raising flour. You'll also need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're going to add some mild mustard into this, or you could add stronger mustard depending on whether you want a kick or not. If this is for your kids, you might be safer using mild mustard. Kids, if you're doing it with your parents or whoever's looking after you, then you can specify what you like mustard-wise. You'll also need, if you want more of a kick, some paprika. I mean, you can even add chili powder if you wanted, but depending on what your tastes are, you might want to add a bit of paprika for a little bit of extra flavour. You'll also need 3 or 4 tablespoons of butter, which is about 50 grams. And then you'll need 3/4 of a cup of cheese, which is about 70 grams. You'll need an egg, and then you'll need extra cheese for sprinkling over the top, and milk to brush over the top so your cheese kind of can stick to it, essentially. Not stick, but you know, it's just the finishing touch is what I'm saying. So that is what you need to make your cheese straws. So let's kick off. First up, you'll need to preheat your oven to 180 degrees if you've got a fan, and 200 without a fan. More or less, you always just add on 20 degrees to convert from fan, and then more or less you double it if you're working in Fahrenheit. So my oven is fan assisted. I've got it heating up to 180 degrees, and then in the meantime, you need to get a big mixing bowl, which we're going to put all our ingredients in, which is what I have here. So first I'm going to go for my flour, self-raising flour, 3/4 of a cup, which is 100 grams. So in goes my flour. So that's my 3/4 of a cup of flour, in it goes. If you don't have self-raising flour, then just use plain flour and add in 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and that will make it into the same thing as self-raising flour, essentially. We need to make sure our cheese straws rise because that's the nice texture, the flaky sort of crumbly texture that we want. So don't use plain flour unless you have the baking powder to go with it. So next, add in your 1/4 teaspoon of paprika and 1/4 teaspoon of mild mustard, or whatever mustard you want. So here I've got my paprika. You know, like I say, if you want to knock yourself out, add some chili powder or whatever. This is just going to give a bit of kick, or you could use cayenne pepper. In it goes. Mix it around, and then I'm going to get my mustard and do exactly the same. So I'm using a sort of mild sweet mustard in here because I don't want to give it too much of a kick, but you can use whatever mustard you want. Mix it in. Your mustard and your paprika will totally disappear, so it will still look pretty much just like a bowl of regular flour. So now I'm going to add in my butter or margarine or spread, and then we're going to make it into a sort of crumble mix, essentially. And now, making sure that your hands really are clean, it's time to get stuck in, like you would with the crumble, for instance. Just tease the flour in between your fingertips until it makes breadcrumbs. So it will all mix in nicely. It feels so good actually with the pepper and the mustard. Or if you've put the chilli in, with the chilli, if you like it hot, some like it hot, a bit fiery. There we go. So I'm just crumbling this up so that it's like breadcrumbs. Now I'm ready to add my egg and my cheese. Okay, I'm just gonna wash my hands, which is what you'll need to do as well, because otherwise you'll be in a right old mess. So next up, I'm gonna grate my cheese so that I can add it into the mix, because all we need to do is add our cheese and our egg. So get your cheese grater out and get whichever hard cheese you're using. Mine is mature cheddar, and get grating. You need 3/4 of a cup. So that is what I'm going to do. That's about 70 grams. When you're grating your cheese, be really careful because it's quite lethal, a cheese grater. You might need to get a grown-up to help if you haven't already got one. But if you haven't, why haven't you? Because it's always good to have a grown-up one hand in the kitchen tub, and you must for when you're using hot things and sharp things, and the cheese grater is pretty sharp. So quite quickly, actually, my grater's quite big. I've got quite a load of cheese, so I reckon that I've got 3/4 of a cup already. So shake it off. We don't want to waste any cheese. Put it to one side. Actually, I'll put it back in the fridge. Right, so this is definitely, I love cheese so much. I could just live off cheese. Anyway, this is definitely 3/4 of a cup. In fact, it's more than 3/4 of a cup. But hey, okay, in it goes. Great. And now I'm going to crack my egg in. Got my egg and in it goes, and then we're going to make the whole thing into a dough, and then we're going to roll our dough out into strips. So what it's good to do is, before you start getting your hands too mucky, is to grease a baking tray that we're going to use to put our strips on. Okay, here we go. So I've got a baking sheet there, and I am going to put a spread on mine. Nice and greasy so that nothing sticks to it. There we go. Pop that to one side, and then I'm ready to make my dough. I'm going to put my hair out of the way for this bit so that it doesn't annoy me. And I'm ready to mix this into a dough, and I might need to also get stuck in with my hands. So first I'm just mixing it with a spoon, and then once it's going more dough-like, I'll get stuck in with my hands, as I say. Okay, there you go. So already the just the wetness of the egg is sticking it all together, which is what we want, into a big clump rather than the breadcrumbs and the dry mixture that was there before. And quite quickly, actually, if you mix it, you'll find that you get a dough which is perfect, and it's ready to be rolled out. So there you can see I've got my dough and all my grated cheese and my egg and everything, all the ingredients are all in one mass now, all together in a dough. So once your dough is finished, you can add flour to it if it's a bit sticky. You could either roll it out onto a board and cut it into strips, but that would mean you have to transfer it to your baking sheet. So I'm going to put mine straight onto my baking sheet. So my dough is there on my baking sheet. I'm going to roll it out and then score it into rectangles, and then pop it into the oven to bake. So there we go. You can do this with a rolling pin. I'm just using my hands because that seems easier. And I'm going to just score it into rectangles. with a palette knife, or I'm using a wooden spoon because I don't want to scratch my baking tray, obviously, because it's non-stick, so wooden is perfect. You can make them as neat or as messy as you want. They always look kind of rustic when they're messy. It's totally up to you, and you can use whatever shape you want. I mean, you could even use cookie cutters and make them into little sort of cheesy biscuit snack things. What do you reckon, Hux? Hux has entered into the fray.
I wasn't listening what you're saying.
You weren't listening to what I was saying. That's the story of Huxley's life. Not listening to what Mummy's saying. No, that's okay, Hux. I didn't tell you to listen, did I? You were just doing your own thing. I just caught you off guard there, didn't I? Okay.
What does that mean?
What it means is, if I caught you off guard, it means that you were just doing something else, and then I interrupted when you weren't expecting it. I'm making cheese straws for you.
Cheese twist.
I could make some into twists, yeah. If you want to make your cheese straws...
No, they're normally called cheese twist.
Oh, they are if they're in a twisted shape. I'll show you. A cheese twist, you could just roll it in your hands and then just sort of twist it. Or you could get two.
I want to make a cheese twist.
Do you want to make a cheese twist?
Yeah.
Okay, go and wash your hands. Or you could get two
I
little
can
sort
wash
of
my
thinner
hands.
straws, and you could twist them around each other. No, you have to wash your hands, honey. Even if you did wash them a while ago, you have to re-wash them. Got to be strict in these times of COVID-19, Hux, yeah? Well, just got to be strict anyway. We've got to get in the habit. Then you don't want to do it. If it means having to go and wash your hands, you're like, I can't be bothered to walk to wash my hands. Okay, so I've got a few of different lengths. Shall I make one into like a really thin one? You can have a play. As long as your hands are clean. Okay. Right, so now my oven is up to temperature. So I'll just show you what I've got here. There we go. So there's two little twisty ones at the bottom, a la Huxley's suggestion. And then the rest are all regular rectangles. But what's Darth Vader doing in my kitchen? Is he trying to eat a cheese straw? Is he trying to eat the cheese straws? Darth Vader, you cannot have my cheese straws. No way. Is there a stormtrooper trying to eat the cheese straws? No, you can't eat my cheese straws,
That's Luke
stormtrooper.
Skywalker.
No way, they're all coming for the cheese straws. I didn't know the cast of Star Wars liked cheese straws this much. Luke, get off my cheese straws, Luke. Totally being invaded in the kitchen. There we go. There are the cheese straws. Now, at this point, you can brush your cheese straws with a little bit of milk and sprinkle more cheese on top. But I'm going to actually use a cheesy dip to serve mine with. So I'm not going to go for the extra cheese on top. But ordinarily, you would do that. And I'll talk you through some other dips that aren't cheesy dips that you can serve your cheese straws with. And then they're going into my oven for 10 to 12 minutes. Oven gloves, because it's hot, very important. And in we go. Okay, so I'm just going to talk you through some ideas for dips. Now, a really good, easy dip base is if you get yogurt, just plain yogurt. I like to use Greek yogurt because it's a bit creamier, and cream cheese, and you mix them together. It makes a really good base for lots and lots of different flavour combinations for a dip. So what you will need as your base for your dip is double the amount of soft cheese to the amount of yogurt. So a good example is using 100 grams of your soft cheese with 50 grams of the yogurt. And then there's loads of different things you can add in, which I'll talk you through now. So if you like garlic, a really good one to do is just add in a crushed garlic clove with a handful of chives and a bit of lemon juice and pepper.
If your kids are mayonnaise lovers, you could change it up and go for aioli instead, replacing the cream cheese and the yogurt with mayonnaise, and then garlic is in there as well. With a squeeze of lemon juice, a sprinkle of salt and a touch of Dijon mustard.
Mint is a good one to add in with cucumber to this base. Mint and cucumber makes a really sort of cool, fresh Greek style dip. You could also, it's already cheesy, but if you've got cheese sticks that are using a mild cheese and you want something a bit stronger, you could grate some cheese into that and have a really nice sort of creamy, cheesy dip. And blue cheese will even mix in nicely with that if you're a blue cheese fan. Or if you're not vegetarian, you could try something like smoked salmon dip. Smoked stuff works really well.
Dill also goes well with smoked salmon and a squeeze of lemon juice. Smoked mackerel also works well with this base too.
You could also try something like chicken strips, but cut really small. Cooked chicken will work really well, and it's a more creamy chickeny dip. But cut the chicken up really tiny into little tiny pieces and mix it in. Other things that work well in as dips are guacamole. So avocado is a really great dip for cheese straws. A really simple avocado recipe is a sort of kids version of guacamole, which is literally, you don't need to do the chopped onion, but you just smush up a avocado, add a touch of lemon juice and then some chopped up cherry tomatoes, and if your kids want it, you could add in some chopped coriander as well.
Parsley works too.
And obviously you know your taste, but pepper can actually work well with that to add a bit of bite to it. If your kids are more into sweet toothed dips, you could make a mango salsa just by chopping up little pieces of mango and little pieces of cucumber and little pieces of cherry tomato and mixing with olive oil and lemon juice and sweet corn, and that's a really lovely mushy mango salsa, and that also works well with avocado. So my oven timer is about to go off any minute, so I might rustle up a quick dip. Like I said, two portions of cream cheese to 1 portion of yogurt, and then pop it in.
What is that?
I'm making a dip out of cream cheese and Greek yogurt and other bits and juices. The oven timer has gone off, and so out come the cheese straws. So here we go with the cheese straws. I made them quite big. Huq, do you want to have a try of a cheese straw? I've got some leftover cheese, so maybe I'll add that and make it a cheesy dip. Why not? Okay, here we go. A cheesy dip. Do you want to try cheese straw? I'm gonna try.
Hot. Yeah. So hot?
Very hot. Very yummy. I was worried, obviously, that it'd be too cheesy with cheese straws and a cheese dip, but it's so yummy. I'm going to see what my kids think. But I could have even brushed the milk on and sprinkled more cheese on top because I'm such a cheese lover. Really good. And kind of like a crumbly, biscuity cheese straw. It's so yummy. Such a great snack. Brilliant. It would go well with so many different dips. Thoroughly recommend it. I made mine quite big. You could make yours thinner and longer or shorter, because taste is obviously due to shape and texture as well. I really love it. Okay. You shouldn't talk and eat at the same time, but I'm just very excited about how yummy this is.
I talk and eat this at the same time.
And you do, don't you? Sometimes you talk and eat at the same time. Okay, do you want to try some cheese straws?
Yeah.
Cool, you'll like them. So now Huq's is ready. Here's a plate, Huq. So there's a cheesy dip there and there's a cheese straw there. Do you think Kovi will like these? Do you think your brother will like these cheese straws? Cool. Are they good for a snack?
Yes.
Cool. All right.
Totally good for
The cheese straw. Hello, Mr. Cheese
Ah, someone's eating me.
No, this is the worst news.
And even worse than that, that is it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe and spread the word. Happy cheese straw baking and see you next time. Bye.